disruptive behaviour will result in removal from the meeting.
We have no minutes of the previous meeting. Okay, I will run quickly through the licensing procedure as set out in the agenda. So the first, this will be for, we only have one item on the agenda, which is the Co-Balance Cafe. So we'll be going on to that. The licensing officer will outline the report, and then we'll hear from the applicant. And after the applicant, we'll hear from responsible authorities before moving on to other people. The same as in a reality licensing committee, councillors can ask questions for clarification at all points through, but other people not until we move on to the discussion. And in the discussion, I'll take questions through the chair or points, and councillors will try and prompt the discussion. So we deal with the matters that have been raised. When we finish the discussion and councillors are ready and there's nothing more to clarify, we'll allow everybody to have closing remarks should they want them, but they mustn't bring in new information at that point. There's an opportunity for final clarification before we then ask people to leave and make our decision. Okay, is everybody happy with that? Cool, thank you very much. Okay, well in that case, I'll now go over to Mike Smith, the licensing officer, who will outline the report for Cafe.
Yes, thank you. So this is an application for a premises licence at 130 Shoreditch High Street, with hours described on page 3 of the agenda pack. Please note, police have now withdrawn their representations following acceptance of proposed conditions. These are the conditions which have been circulated to all parties. Hopefully everyone has seen that. Representations remain from licensing and from 2 other persons, one of whom is present and the other has confirmed that they are content for the meeting to go ahead in their absence. There is also a planning observation which has been included in the agenda pack, which is for information only. I have nothing further to add, Chair. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. I realise I haven't found any questions. And I think perhaps we ought to do that before we carry on. So I will introduce myself. I'm Councillor Plouvier. I'm chairing this meeting. If the councillors and then the officers will just introduce themselves.
I'm Councillor Brian Bell.
Councillor Smith, Stoke Newington Ward.
Amanda.
Hello, I'm Amanda North from Legal Services, advisor to the panel.
Mike, we've had introduced. Natalie.
Hello, I'm Natalie Williams, Governance Services Officer.
Hello, I'm David Tuitt from the Licensing Service.
Okay. And Clifford, you're?
Clifford Hart, Governance Services. Thank you.
Andrew, can you introduce yourself?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah.
I am an other person, I suppose, a neighbour.
Thank you. Welcome to the meeting. Mr. Wadwani.
Hello, everyone.
And you are?
I'm Mr. Wadhwani on behalf of Co-Balance Cafe.
Okay. I think the other people who are all on the grid, as we say in Spooks, we're all on the grid, are officers from the council who are facilitating the recorded live streaming and who are otherwise here to assist us with governance or with IT as this goes on. So I won't ask them all to introduce themselves if that's okay. Fantastic. Thanks so much, everybody. Okay, Mr. Wadhwani, then it's over to you, please, to outline your position as the applicant. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you. Hello, everyone. Thanks for taking time today to sit and work on behalf of Co-Balance Cafe on this application. I want to start off with describing our business. I think that's where most of the confusion is. So we are an internet cafe where you have to come in to use our facilities. You need to pay and become a member. Additionally, we offer drinks and food, but we do not cook them. We get it from our supplier, we prep them and sell it. And furthermore, we have a small space that we offer to retailers who cannot afford leases, but would like to sell their product or see how it's going to do in the market for like limited time period. So that's where our business is. So it's heavily constructed around the membership, and everyone who is using our facilities needs to pay for the time they use our facilities. And that's where the name non-commitment comes forward, because we distinguish ourselves compared to other co-working space by giving them a flexible sort of like membership offering. Going along, I know it's a very sensitive time for all of us, and I just want to go and offer alterations to our application straightforward. So we would like to alter our application licensing activities until 10 p.m. every day. We are happy to have door supervisor active Friday and Saturdays from 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. Third, we are willing to adopt a policy for our members to not be able to smoke outside our premises. Having said that, all we want to do here is collaborate and address every concern that other parties have and cooperate and go forward, because a lot relies on this application for our business and future employment for this business. And I really hope the council will understand the way we understand the council itself. And that's all I have to say at this point. Thank you.
Thank you. Do councillors have points for clarification they want to raise now?
No, I'm happy at the moment, thank you.
Councillor Bell, thanks.
Can I just look at the plans, which are on page 26 of the published agenda, page 40, I think, of the PDF. I'm particularly interested in the basement. Are there a lot of fixed elements? In particular, there's a large square box on the northern side. Can you tell me what that is?
I just have it to page 35. Are you talking about the layout of the property?
Yes, exactly that.
Check. Yes, so in the basement, which one are you referring to?
There's a large square box on the northern side.
That's a meeting room.
So that's your sealed meeting room.
Yes.
And the two boxes at the very back of the basement?
Yeah, there was two small phone booths for privacy phone calls.
Right, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah,
okay.
No worries.
Okay, any other clarification at this point? No. Okay, that's lovely. In that case, we'll move on to the responsible authority, which in this case is David Tuitt from the licensing authority, please.
Okay, thank you very much, Chair. So the representation I made is on page 29 of the PDF agenda. So I'll keep it brief. Essentially, the premises is located within the special policy area. So LP10 within the council's statement of licensing policy applies. So I've made reference to that in my submission. I think initially on receipt of the application, there's a bit of concern that that the application, although the premises is described as a workspace, that there was some concern that it wasn't. There were no measures inside the application to prevent it from becoming something else. So I think we've still got to get to the bottom of that. And Mr. Wadhwani, I can see your hand up. I think there'll be an opportunity for further discussion. So just once the initial introductions are done. I'd note the change in hours and the additional condition, but I do think we might need to talk further about membership and access, that sort of thing, which is the type of thing we'd normally see in workspace type premises. We do have quite a few workspace premises in Hackney now, and it's not unusual for them to be licensed under Licensing Act 2003. So it's not unusual for this sort of application to come forward. I think, though, that if it is to be granted, we might need to look further at a bit more restriction in relation to access and membership. I'll leave it there for now, Chair. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Do members want to clarify any of that now, or move on to hear from the other people first?
I'm happy to move on, thank you.
Okay. Okay, in that case, Andrew Cantor, can we hear from you regarding your objections?
Thank you. My representation appears at page 32 of the PDF. I've met with various councillors in the past, and I don't think we need to rehash the whole history of shortage and issues and the like. And I think we can get to the nub of the issue and our objection, which was the application as presented was broad, and the concerns were about the future and other activities. We support independent business. We support licensed activities. I've been a personal license holder and a premises license holder in Hackney. But we would just hope that the committee might be able to find a way to introduce suitable conditions that fairly represent what the applicant says they want to do, which is a fee-paying, membership-based co-working space in which there's the occasional drink consumed by members. The one final thing I'd say is I echo what Mr. Tewitt said, which is there are lots of spaces in the area. Unfortunately, there's one literally right next door to our house that is abused and slipped through loopholes, which is the Forge, which used a membership-based idea to open up a full-service restaurant and bar. So it's important to get the conditions right, because if they're not clear and specific, you can wind up with what happened at the Forge.
Okay, thank you, Andrew. Anybody want clarification on that now? Okay.
No, thank you.
Sorry?
No, thank you.
Okay. Okay, well, in that case, I think we should perhaps go back to the applicant. I think we're now done with the representations. We had another one that was basically the same from another person. So we're in the position where we have, in a sense, an inadequate application for what you want, and we've got to try and either make that work or not, it seems to me. And I think perhaps you could respond to some of the things that have been raised.
Yes, thank you. I think it's true that our application was vague. We should have been more accurate when we were writing the application. And I'm talking here, not my lawyer, not my consultant, because I wanted to clarify just that. We are a membership-based co-working space, and all we want to do is offer our members an additional refreshment so they don't have to go out of the premises and use other facilities or just don't see the value in our membership. And that's all we want to offer. Now, I understand that there are a few questions about like how you differentiate yourself from acting just like any other bar in the near neighborhood. and just to make sure that we want to supply the refreshments only to our members. And we won't mind if it's under our conditions of application that you are only able to serve refreshments to your members and your members only. And we are fine with that. All we want to do is just have this additional feature to our members so they can see the value in the membership itself.
So how does that work if you're having an event? Because it's a 3-part thing you've applied for. So partly workspace, partly cafe, partly event space.
No, so that's what I addressed in the beginning. So basically, we are membership-based co-working space, and then we offer coffees and food to our members. And the event goes only to the retailers who want to showcase their products, but they're small retailers who cannot afford like normal retail spaces. So we offer them to kind of like serve their products to our members, and that's all we do.
I'm sorry, I don't understand that.
So, okay, sorry about that. So basically, the event side of things, we use that as a marketing purpose to call it event space, but all it is we give it to individual, like a small stalls in the corner of the space to showcase their products to our members. Let's say if you're selling a clothing, so you will have small space to have a clothing rails to sell it or to try to sell it to the members and show their value.
Forgive me, but that's a 4th use of the space. That's a use of the space for retail. So that would be a 4th space. That would be an addition. That's not an event. That's using a bit of the space for retail.
Yeah, I mean, that's what we use the event space for. I think we just used it for marketing purposes to call it event space, but we use it to provide it to retailers to showcase their products.
Okay, so are we talking when you say event space, which part of this space do you mean is the event space?
Yeah, so basically the front small side of the store, we use it to give it to other people to showcase their products. And that we call it event space.
So why then why have you changed the timing for events?
We haven't changed the timing for the events. It's just a regular retail space that we offer to other individuals.
Okay.
And we call it event space just for the marketing purposes for local customers to understand what it is. But we don't do like parties or those kind of, it's not event space like that. It's just a retail space that we provide.
Okay.
Yeah.
Councillor Bell first. Sorry, I saw.
2 things. First of all, just to clarify, when you say to 10 p.m., is that opening time or time for service of alcohol and refreshments?
Yeah, so it's end of so it's closing time.
So effectively, end of refreshments and alcohol would be half an hour earlier?
So it's a closing time. So 10 p.m. we will stop selling anything in the premises.
Yeah, but normally you stop selling things and then further on there's a closing time.
Okay, so I meant until 10 p.m. we're going to stop serving. So from 10 p.m. we won't serve anything.
But you want the premises to be open to 10:30 or when?
I mean, the premises will be closed for the customers at 10 p.m., but it will take us half hour to clean and things like that. Hope that clarifies it.
No, it doesn't really.
No?
People usually have sometimes drinking up time or eating up time between when they stop serving the food and alcohol and they close the premises.
Yeah. So I meant we will stop serving by 10 p.m.
So when will you close the premises?
So we will start letting out from 10 p.m. That's basically both at the same time. We will stop serving and ask people to leave or start closing down.
So when will you complete closing down and close down completely?
10:30.
Right, so you want opening times till 10:30?
Yeah.
Right, that's what I was trying to clarify. That.
Okay, yeah, sorry, maybe that's the legal way, sorry, yeah.
And my second question was, would you consider an additional condition which just said a substantial food offering shall be available until close of service.
Can you define the substantial food offerings?
That's the problem. I've seen the food you offer at the moment, and it's mostly snacky with good salads. So if you're allowing people to drink with that, we'd like something that says you must keep something relatively substantial on until quite late, so they have that option.
Yeah, we're willing to do that.
What I agree with you on is there's no clear definition of substantial. It is unfortunately a bit of a problem for us.
Yeah.
Gather exactly what that is, but that wording gives us and the police some greater reassurance than having not saying something like that.
Okay, so as far as I understand, something which is sort of like heavy consumable. I think that's what you mean here, and we are willing to do that. We are willing to offer something more heavy in terms of calories.
I think it would just be in your case the salad you offer, but right until the end close of play.
Oh, so you're saying like until the late, until we close,
as opposed to just the meals you serve on toast and just open sandwiches.
Yeah.
More substantial slightly than
I'm
that.
glad you know about our business. It makes me happy. But yeah. We would love to offer it until the end of the play.
Okay, I think that's everything I need. Thanks, Emma.
Thank you. Councillor Smith, did you want to?
Hi there, thank you. Yeah, just a couple of queries. Well, just one query really. At the weekends, how many of your members on a Friday and Sunday night, how many stay on beyond 6?
So at the moment, we don't offer anything after 8 p.m. So we shut down at 8 p.m. At the moment. So after 6 p.m. on the weekends, our usual members are around 8 to 10.
Okay, so you've spotted a gap in the market here for people who want to use a co-working space, want to use it in the evenings. Is that right?
Exactly. And the thing with that is we kind of saw that people usually tend to have a glass of wine or gin while they work, and then they came back to us and they say, because you guys don't offer that, we what's the point? Like, it's a weekend time and we want to socialize with our colleagues, or we want to celebrate our sort of like end of achievements of the week and things like that. Okay, and how much customers that way? And how much is your membership, and how many members do you have? Yeah, so our monthly membership is £180, and we do hourly, which is £4 an hour. Okay, so that means that there's a kind of like a walk-in situation where you could basically walk in, grab a hot desk for £4 an hour. Correct. Yeah, we offer flexible membership. And what would stop someone who just wanted to come and drink there, paying the £4 and just using it to sort of spend the evening on a Friday or Saturday night there just drinking? Well, there are two conditions. So basically you have to become a member, and then you have to pay, let's say, £4 an hour to use our premises. And it doesn't stop them. But when it comes to, let's say, a rational person who just want to have a drink, why would you pay £4 just to use the facilities? And how many members do you have? Currently, we have 20, because we just launched the business a few months ago. Okay. Okay, and just one last question. If you refer to the premises map, the plan again. Yeah. I noticed there's a kitchen indicated, which is fine, obviously fine. Yeah. How much is that kitchen used? We just use it as a storage space, really, and then to prep stuff. So it's a very small space, so we use fridges to store kind of like salad, vegetables, and things like that. And then the other side is basically a storage space where we use our coffees and other sort of like takeaways, appliances. Yeah, and just one last question, Chair, if that's okay. Is that okay, Chair? Yeah. Just on the kind of fire escape, just to peace of mind, really. If there was a fire in there, is there a good quick means to get out? Yeah, so Can I show you? I'm in the premises right now, if that's okay with everyone.
Well, it's up to the chair.
I think it'd probably be easier if you could explain it on the plan, if you don't mind.
Okay, no worries, no worries.
Are you talking, Councillor Smith, about the exit from the basement?
Well, that, yes, and also from the ground floor. I just want to get a picture really in my mind as to what would happen.
So it would be hard for me to show it over here on the plan itself, but like basically we have on our ceilings, we have dotted lines, and it's all in red pipes, which takes you towards the fire exit door straight up.
Okay, and the fire exit door on the ground floor is where?
It's basically the entrance.
Right. So on the plan, it's at the bottom of the. Oh no, it isn't.
Right. Yeah, it's actually it's the bottom.
It's the bottom, just above where it says page 26.
Yeah, so where it shows the bar area, which is the serving area. So it's just next to it at the bottom.
Oh, right there. Okay. Yeah.
That's our entrance, and that's also the fire exit door.
Okay. And for the people in the basement?
They have to follow the staircases and come out.
So they come up. They come up to the ground floor and then out the front door as well.
Yeah.
So the fire exit is for everybody is the same as the way in.
Yeah.
Is there any means at all to get out of the basement apart from that way?
No, it's not made that way.
Okay. Thank you. I don't want to get bogged down too much in this, but it's just for peace of mind. Thank you very much for answering the questions.
No
and just while we're on this, could you give us the capacities for the premises, top and bottom floor?
Yeah. So at the moment, it's already on the plan.
Yeah.
So it's 25 on the ground floor, and 20
seats.
Yeah.
Yeah, and 24.
Yeah.
So does that mean that you would never have more than those people in?
We accepted the Metropolitan Police condition that's to say the maximum capacity. I actually don't have the accurate number.
Okay, sorry, I haven't got that. I meant to print out the police conditions and I didn't have time, so I apologise. I haven't got them to hand. I don't know if somebody else does. I can look at them on here on a separate tab, but I don't particularly want to leave the meeting. So if somebody perhaps, does one of the other councillors have the police conditions to hand? I don't, I'm afraid.
Yeah, I'm just looking for them on my phone. 1 second.
I've got.
Yes, so, I have it here. So it says 25 customers on the ground floor and 24 on the basement at all times. So we accepted that condition. So we won't have more than that amount of people, obviously.
Condition 11.
Right. So that's so the capacities are set out at all times.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
So condition 11, just to clarify, it says there shall be a maximum of 25 customers on the ground floor and 24 at basement level at all times. Yeah?
Yes.
And you've accepted that condition?
Yes.
Brilliant. Great. Does that help, Chair?
Anybody else have questions they want to ask now? I would like to go back to David Tuitt, if I could please. And you said that there were a lot of things you would expect from a premises with a membership, and I wondered if you could expand on that now, please.
If I give examples of another well-known workspace provider, so they've applied to us with conditions, and license have been granted subject to conditions that say alcohol shall not be sold or supplied otherwise than to members of the premises and their bona fide guests. The sale and supply of alcohol shall be ancillary to the operation of the premises as serviced office space or co-working space. And the members will not take drinks outside. So certain restrictions and requirements around membership activity, and I think that's the sort of thing that I think was missing from this application when we received it initially.
Okay. And maybe while we're on it, we could just deal with the outside space thing. That may be in the police conditions, and I apologise, but we have a condition about no smoking out the front. Could you clarify, please, what the position with outside is?
So,
given that there's no other exit.
What's the position in terms of smoking, you mean?
Yeah, smoking. Anybody who wants to go in and out to smoke, or indeed, yeah.
Should I read the condition out? I've got it here if you want to hear it.
Yes.
After 2100 hours, there shall be a maximum of 5 smokers outside the premises at any one time. These customers shall be monitored by staff to ensure that they do not cause public nuisance.
Is this a police condition?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but I thought there was a environmental health condition in the original pack. Let me just.
No, it's a police condition.
No, but yeah, but I think isn't there one that's in the original pack? Sorry. Okay. I'll look for it later. Yes. It says patrons shall not use the public pavement outside the premises at any time for smoking or as a smoking designated area. Yeah.
Can I speak? Yeah. So we were discussing about this because it's a pavement. If you stop people from doing what they want, they will obviously say, "Who the hell are you to stop me from smoking?" But as far as we and our customers and our members goes, we are willing to have a policy which have a banner saying no smoking outside and outside our premises, and we're willing to work on it as well.
So that condition is not accepted, condition 30. It doesn't form part of an agreement you made with environmental. It may not. I mean, I don't know, but
it's a very confusing requirement because if you just think what I described just now, because people will just say it's a pavement and how can you stop me from smoking? Because we cannot even have our signage outside on the pavement.
Okay, so, the only reason I'm asking this is because we have in the pack, we have conditions that I'm kind of assuming were agreed with environmental health regarding, waste disposal and other matters.
Yeah.
And that condition regarding smoking on the public pavement forms part of that bunch of conditions. So I was assuming that you'd agreed them with our environmental health department. If you haven't, and if that isn't agreeable, then we need to know that, because obviously I'm not going to, we can't say, oh, well, you don't have to do the waste recycling because you didn't know that was, do you know what I mean? It's
yeah. Exactly. I was explaining that as the same thing as well. Like, we accepted that, and then I'm willing to accept that again here on behalf of all.
You can't accept it if it's impossible. You just suggested that it's impossible. If you can't go outside the premises except onto the pavement, then that's accepting an impossible condition.
That was my second question, because like it is impossible to stop patrons to do what they want to do. And the outside pavement doesn't belong to this premises. We cannot even have our signage on the pavement.
Okay.
It belongs to.
So where would you put? So because I'm sorry, my assumption was that you had a separate smoking designated area. Is that not the case?
We don't have it.
We don't. Okay.
We only have one exit door, and that's the fire exit, and we don't have anything else.
Okay, thank you.
Pleasure.
Cool. Mr. Cantor, do you want to add anything at this point, or ask any questions of the?
If I could. Just to repeat, we really don't have any issue at all with people who are renting desks, winding up the evening with a glass of wine. But our concerns are twofold. One is we're still not kind of wholly convinced that that's really the fundamental nature of the application. I get that that's what they're trying to do as a business, but the application includes, for example, now an agreement to a condition for SIA licensed store people, which is appreciated, but it's also really expensive and doesn't really fit with kind of 25 or even 40 seats of somebody taking a glass of wine at the end of the evening. So all of that leads us to, if I can wrap it up, to our repeating a concern that the devil in the detail here is in the definition of a member. And to repeat, just 2 blocks down from this is the Forge, which is also a membership meeting space, which they use to turn into a full service licensed bar, because anybody walking up the door is asked, "Do you want to be a member? Give us your email address." The Ace Hotel directly across the street has a license for its rooftop only for ticketed events, and you get a ticket by walking up and they say, "Do you want a ticket? Give us your email." So just repeating that the devil's in the detail. If this truly is the case that it's about somebody at the end of the workday having a glass of wine or a gin and tonic with their coworkers on their rented space, great. And let's just make sure the conditions accurately reflect that this is a real membership. I'm not a licensing expert, but it almost made me think whether this is the right license or whether it should be a club license. But regardless, it does veer much more toward you're a member who's paid a significant amount to be there, and therefore, of course, you should be able to have a drink, but not 10 people walking in off the street, one of them paying £4, and next thing you know, they've got a table on the single most busy block of Shoreditch High Street. Hopefully that helps.
It does. Thank you. Thank you. Any more points that we need to raise at this point?
Could the applicant just clarify again the exact terms of the security guard he was willing to commit to, the door supervisor?
Yes, Friday and Saturday from 8 p.m. till 10 p.m.
Is that one individual? Yeah.
One door supervisor, correct. Yeah.
And what is their role?
To follow licensing objectives.
I meant specifically for your premises, given the location of your premises, and I mean you've got a maximum of 50 people in there. What is the role of the license what are you paying them for?
So we are paying them for basically to protect because area can get like, it's hard to stop people from coming in. So the door security will help us to maintain the operation that we want to follow. And then at the same time, help the members and see if there is no nuisance or any other kind of disorder going on in the premises.
So how would they stop people coming in?
With the authority they will have to not let people in.
Yeah, but I mean on the grounds, on what grounds? I mean, if I can come in and spend £4 generally in the daytime to go in there, can't I do that? I mean, how do they know to stop people and why? I mean, why are they stopping people just because it's 8 o'clock? I mean, that doesn't make sense.
Yeah. So it's basically what they're gonna do is they're gonna help us and our staff members to sort of like communicate with other people who are maybe under the influence or not able to listen to us, or we just rejecting people because they don't want to become our members or pay for our facilities. So in order, it could increase sort of like a disorder, and sometimes hard to communicate with few people. So it's for our security, our staff security, and for our members' security.
Okay. Anybody else want to? Gilbert, that's a smile.
Thank you. Could you just talk a little bit about how your business currently works? Just very briefly. And also, if I'm walking along the road, as Councillor Flivier said, and I see your premise and I think, oh, that looks interesting. They're serving some drinks in there. I might just pop in with my friends. You know, just talk about the protocol there, please, just for a little bit. Thank you.
Yeah, so our operation basically works in a way where you come into the door and then you see the space, and then we greet you, and then we'll say it's a co-working space. So people ask us how it works. So we ask them, in order to use our facilities, you need to sign in. So we have an iPad where you need to sign in and then become our member, and then your clock starts. And then you go inside, you use the facilities. While going out, you sign out and pay for the time you use the space.
Okay, kind of got that.
So it's you come in, you sign in.
Yeah.
And then you use the facilities, and while going out, you sign out, and it creates an invoice, and then you pay.
Okay, so anyone can walk in off the street and do that. But in order to do that, I would have to pay £180 membership fee, yeah?
That's for a month. If you want to do per hour, then it sort of like takes off per hour basis.
Yeah, I think this is the concern the gentleman had on the caller, was basically that idea. And I know that, you know, you're saying, well, why would somebody want to pay £4 to come in and just have a drink? But that's a little bit holy for me. And what I mean by that is that it's leaky. If we could maybe tighten that up slightly somehow, I think that might provide reassurance for, is it Mr. Cantor? How do you feel about that? Mr. Bodami?
Oh, you're talking to me? I thought you, okay.
Yeah. How do you feel about tightening up the sort of membership criteria a little bit?
Yeah, we can tighten it up by, I mean, why we are all doing all this to help freelancers and small businesses to offer this flexibility in sort of like using the office spaces and not be bound by the monthly contracts that other co-working places work on. But having said that, we are okay to accept in the condition where from 8 p.m. going forward to the closing time, we won't accept anyone who is wanting to become our member, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that kind of makes sense. We just have to have something written down that would accurately express that.
Yeah.
I don't know if the chair and officers would be happy to think about a condition there.
Well, you could have a members only after 8 o'clock. I'm not quite sure what constitutes a member. So how would because then you're presumably making your security staff responsible for admitting only members. Is that correct? So
Yeah.
how would you do that?
How they already are on our list of members. So we won't accept any new member after 8 p.m. as you said. So it's members only. And then the security at the door will have a list of members, and they will accept only those members who are on the list. I hope that helps.
It helps, but it's strange for us because you said this was a critical part of your business, and yet it seems incredibly costly for a small number of extra patrons for a small number of extra time, with an enormous number of headaches in the busiest part of town. So we're surprised and perhaps, I don't want to use the word unconvinced, but I think possibly unconvinced. I wanted to clarify with you sorry, I have to go back to the smoking conditions, because at the moment you have accepted 2 smoking conditions that are contradictory. Condition 30 in the original pack, which says no smokers, and condition 14 with the police. So I just wondered if you could just clarify which one we are to take.
I'm okay to accept the condition that police offered, which is 5 maximum capacity.
Okay.
Because the other one is impossible to do.
Okay. Thank you. Just clarified that.
Of course.
Anybody else want to ask any more questions or clarify anything else before I think we're ready for people's final remarks, if that's the case. Amanda.
Did the applicant make environmental aware, though, that they're no longer accepting that condition because they've agreed conditions with them, like a smoking condition that they're no longer accepting? Was that discussed with environmental? I don't know. You know, if he can just reject it just without discussing it with them, or without.
Presumably, was that an oversight on your part, Mr. Wadhwani?
Yeah, so I wanted to discuss that here today. So,
well, we're not able to do that because environmental health, you having accepted their conditions means they're not here. So that when you accepted that police condition, or when you had a doubt, having accepted condition 30, you should have raised that with the environmental health people then. So that leaves us in a slightly confused and complicated position, which doubtless our legal officer will explain to us if necessary after the meeting. She's raised it here, and we'll have to look at it if that's the case, if it's an oversight. Is that okay? I mean, I've cleared with you that you would rather accept condition 14.
Yeah.
And okay, I didn't draw everybody's attention to the planning informative, and I should have just said it is I know that your legal representative raised it, and I wanted to clarify that our planning informatives are informatives, and the information is actually for you more than it is for us, because it indicates to you that you need to seek permission from the planning department to regularise your planning status. And we would then put that, so it's not anything that affects our decision. It could affect our decision in a very minor way if it was another matter that we seek clarification on, but this is simply an informative. Is that okay? Thank you.
Yeah, totally.
Okay. Is everybody, David? Yeah, you want to
just on a smoking point, because if you are minded to grant, I think condition 22 talks about smoking as well. So if you are minded to grant the license today, I think maybe that one would have to come out if condition 30 is going to be attached. I'm looking at page 7.
Yeah. Well, we're in thank you for drawing our attention to that. We're in a slight dead end with the acceptance of an impossible condition, and as you say, it contradicts. I think everybody's assumption was there was another door somewhere else. There isn't. So, and which is of itself slightly concerning. But there's nothing we can do about that other than look at it in our deliberations as a part of a greater whole. It's not the straw that's breaking the camel's back in either direction, as far as I can see, unless anybody thinks it is. Okay. In that case, I think we'll move on to final. I mean, we haven't sorted a licensing condition. I mean, a membership condition. We talked about these changes in terms of the £4 after, and we didn't talk about that. We talked about no members after 8 o'clock. I'd just like to go back to Mr. Tewett and clarify whether that in any way makes you more confident.
I think it was no new members accepted after 8 o'clock, right? I guess it's clear. So a person who approaches the premises wouldn't be able to obtain a hot desk or sign up for membership. I think in terms of clarity, that's a clear condition list.
Okay.
Would that be every day?
Correct.
Every day?
Correct.
Yeah. Okay. And I'd just like to say just one thing, Chair, if that's possible, in the summing up, just a bit of advice from Mr. Wadhwani. You know, you need to prove that there won't be any cumulative impact down there when you sum up. So just bear that in mind. Yeah?
Yeah.
Trying to help you here. Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Smith. That is helpful, because that is very much the issue here, and we haven't really touched on it because we've been looking at a lot of detail. That is ultimately what it comes down to. Okay. I will ask everybody then to have their opportunity to have a kind of summing up. First, the licensing officer, Mr. Tuitt, would you like to say anything in sum up as to where you feel you are as the licensing authority?
Yeah, well, I think we've not really heard about the cumulative impact of not having a negative impact upon it if the license is granted by the applicant. So as Councillor Smith has said, the applicant can refer to that in his closing submission. I think the additional conditions, the revised hours, etc., go some way to allaying concerns. I am still slightly concerned about just the nature of this proposal when compared to other workspaces which we're used to. So there are still some concerns about that, but I guess overall the restrictions do, as I say, go some way to allaying those concerns.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Cantor, would you like to have a final word, please?
Yeah, if I could, I think great appreciation is expressed to the applicant because clearly they're trying to find their way into the business that they've designed. But I guess I would just highlight one last time, it would be a real great tragedy if 6 months from now, when walking down the busiest block on Shoreditch High Street, that we see 25 people in that space with their hands in the air, the tables pushed aside, and it's nothing but a bar. We support a co-working space, we really do. It's daytime activity in the middle of what's primarily a nighttime activity area, but I suppose careful attention needs to be paid to the conditions so it doesn't drift as others have.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Wadhwani, over to you for your final words.
Yeah, I totally understand everyone's concern, and thanks for hearing all our sort of like addresses towards those concerns. All I want to say is basically our ideal point here is to offer our members sort of like a complete package where they don't feel like they need to get out of this space just to have a drink somewhere else, and then we're losing a lot of sort of like a brand impact that we want to create, and that's why we are applying for this license today. I know it caused a lot of like variation because our application weren't clear enough, and I do apologize for that, and pardon me for giving someone else authority to write the application on our behalf and then we take full responsibility for that. Either way, we believe that just serving to our members and not allowing having additional new members after 8 p.m. do not have a negative impact, cumulative impact around the area, and it won't add anything to it. We just want to offer additional refreshment to the people who want to use our facilities as a co-working space. And that's what we want to do, and that's what we're trying to do here. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, I think that's the end, and we'll now go and make our decision, unless there's any final clarifications that anybody wanted to make before sorting out before we. Councillor Bell.
Just to sorry to emphasise that point, is it possible easily to prevent anyone joining after 8 p.m? Can you simply put that on your computers, not able to enroll anyone after 8 p.m? How is it done? How is it going to be achieved?
Well, we haven't done that yet, but we will probably have no new members after 8 p.m. sign. I think that's an easier way and quickest way to do it rather than having that software to stop it.
No, software would be a better answer, but
I mean, we're willing to do that as well. If that needs to be done, that's fine as well. I thought just having no new members after 8 p.m. sign would be more, I don't know, faster.
Yeah, but it would be not real, and that could be overwritten at any time. But
You
anyway,
think?
we can get into detail, perhaps separately.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, I think in that case I'll draw the meeting to a close, and councillors and our governance officer and our legal officer will stay with us in the meeting. We'll make our decision, which we will then let you know. Is that okay?
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you so much for today.
Thank you.
Right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Natalie, have you turned off the live streaming?
I'm in the process of doing so.
Good.